Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I'm really excited to make this video because this video is kind of an annual tradition here on the channel where I talk about my top 5 favorite guitars, and or at the very least the guitars that I'm heavily inspired by and the guitars that I'm choosing to pick up and use for, my literal profession. So I'm really excited to talk about guitars today. Let's dive on into today's video. So this video is actually kind of interesting and unique this year, this go round, because two guitars that I really want to talk about I don't physically have in my possession. They're down in Nashville and they are my tour guitars. They're in the storage unit with Elijah, and yeah, I get to go see those guitars in about 2 weeks. I get to go out on tour for another month again. But for right now, I'm just going to add them as my 2 honorable mentions in this video because, it's not fun to talk about guitars that aren't here in my possession, right? So I'll give you 2 honorable mentions and then 5 more with the guitars that I have here in my possession today. So those 2 guitars, let's knock them out real quick. My 7-string prototype baritone from Cerberus and my Jim Root Stratocaster. Now, honestly, my Jim Root Strat might in fact be my #1 guitar. I love that guitar so much. It is my main touring guitar all of 2024. I've got about, give or take, 60 shows with it so far, and I've got another 20 lined up here for the rest of 2024, at least so far, to the best of my knowledge. So yeah, love that guitar. That guitar's been on this channel for 6 years now, you believe that? And it is probably my most well-known and most famous guitar that I own. And then talk about the 7-string Cerberus prototype. That guitar was just a one-off that I absolutely love, and I'm incredibly thankful from Cerberus to send me that guitar when I was down in San Antonio. That guitar was my drop G guitar for all of the summer tour and the second summer tour, so 2 summer tours. And I was only playing it for 1 song, but that 1 song that's an unreleased song from Elijah, I absolutely love that thing. So whenever I get off tour here in the fall, in October of 2024, that guitar will come back home and I'll do some more dedicated content with that guitar. And that 7-string is a nice little tease for anybody who pre-ordered my 6-string signature guitar through Cerberus, that at the time of this filming, they have arrived and they are being shipped out this weekend. And I'm so excited about that. So not only am I excited to get my own 2 copies, but everybody who bought one, really excited that you guys get your own copy as well. So those are my 2 honorable mentions. Now let's talk about guitars that are actually here in my house. Actually, real quick, if you guys could do me a huge favor, I'll put the link down below in the pinned comment. If you guys could follow me on Spotify, I'd really sincerely appreciate that. Here in 2024, I'm really pushing my brand to not only be a hired gun, but also a solo artist and an individual creator. I've got several collabs coming up with several different artists, not in the rock and metal genre, which I'm really, really excited about. So if you guys could support me, I'd really sincerely appreciate it, and be sure to hit that link so you don't miss any of the new cool stuff that I got cooked up here in 2024. So let's start off the top 5 guitar list right now for realsies. This one right here is a 2022 Gibson Les Paul Custom. This is just your average run-of-the-mill silver burst Les Paul Custom, okay? What's cool about this one is it is the 70th commemorative anniversary of the Gibson Les Paul, which is super sick. I love that emblem right there. And this guitar is very infamous for the broken headstock story that I've told ad nauseum here on the channel. Everybody's heard that story if you guys have been following my channel for the last 1.5 years. But yeah, dude, this guitar, this is my dream guitar. Silver Burst Les Paul Custom. I pulled the trigger last year in like March of 2023, and I finally got my own copy. The last thing that I need to do with this guitar is play it live, and I'm really, really considering taking it out on tour. I've toyed with the idea last year when I played with FTFD, again in the spring, but like FTFD's 6-string songs were in drop A sharp, and that's just really, really low. I did take out my 78 Les Paul Custom, but it was only for 3 songs, and honestly, it stayed in tune great and everything, but I had to use like a 72 or something like that, or like a 68 on the low A sharp. Now that I'm here playing with Elijah on tour, he's in drop C. All the 6-string stuff is in drop C, minus the 1 baritone song. And yeah, I feel as though a Les Paul can certainly do the job there, right? But I'm just afraid to take this guitar out on the road because of the broken headstock. I wouldn't be necessarily upset if the headstock broke again. I mean, it's already broken twice. But I would be more like worried about having to fix it on the road, like having the means to glue it and clamp it down, especially if like I want to make this my main guitar. I don't know, maybe I'll bring it as a backup, and I'm just, you know what I mean? Like I'm scared to have this thing break and not be home to fix it. I'm not scared of it breaking per se, just the act of taking the time to make sure the wood sits and the glue sits and stuff like that. But yeah, I love this guitar, man. This guitar was used on the song Strawberry Mansion. The whole entire song was written and recorded on this guitar, and that song's really unique, and I'm really proud of that song because it was a 6/8 time signature, something I really haven't done too much of. Kind of got that like waltzy feel to it, right? So I really, really dig that song. And yeah, Strawberry Mansion was written and recorded using this guitar. A lot of history with this thing already, a lot of good, a lot of bad, and I really just want to play it live. So one day I'll gather the courage, maybe it's someday soon, and I'll play this thing live and I won't be so gun shy to use it. But you know, I paid for it, I bought it, it wasn't cheap, so might as well use it, right? Up next we have my Badlands Guitars GX1. This is a Badlands Modern, and I love this guitar, man. This is like my main teaching guitar. Anytime I do like a YouTube video with like any theory or anything like that, I'm gonna grab this guitar as of late, or anytime, you know, I'm teaching lessons privately on Skype. I really, really dig this guitar. It's very much a rock and roll guitar. The pickups, they're pretty high output, especially this one right here, but they're certainly not as hot and as powerful as like an active EMG or anything like that. But the tones and the feel and the aesthetic and the vibe is just like a nice rock and roll guitar. And that makes a lot of sense because it is heavily inspired by the 80s. That's kind of like the whole MO of Badlands Guitar Company. In case you're unfamiliar, Badlands was started by the Tone King, and anytime I have the opportunity to play this guitar or teach with it or just show it off, I love it, man. This guitar was, in fact, my backup on tour in the spring. I took this one around the road with me. Never played it live because I was really digging the Jim Root guitar. But if this guitar had EMGs in it, this guitar probably would, at the very least, keep up with that guitar, if not overtake it, because it plays great and it feels amazing, man. The only thing I'm just not really digging for my own style is the pickup. That's the only thing. But like I said, it's got a nice dad rock and roll type of feel to it, and I dig that. And the color is just cool too, man. I mean, look at that. That is so sleek and badass, and yeah, I dig this guitar a lot. Up next is my 2021 Ultralux Stratocaster that I have destroyed in the best way possible. Relicked it, painted it, screwed it all up, but I don't really care, man. I love it so much. This guitar is mine. No guitar looks like this. Nobody has a guitar like this, and for that, I love it so much. This at the time was my dream Stratocaster. I mean, it still is, but like when it came out, I was so stoked because silver burst, Stratocaster with stainless steel frets, so on board with that. The only problem, quote unquote, was the floating Floyd at the time. Now, I'm so in love with the floating Floyd, and anytime I do any sort of original music, more often than not, I'm recording with this guitar. It's set in drop A sharp with some EMGs in it. Like the song Snare Bombs Over Granddad. That song was written and recorded with this one. I've got a new EP coming out very, very soon, and there's a few tunes on that with this guitar as well. The opening song, Her Favorite, was written and recorded with this guitar. A lot of whammy bar stuff. Anyway, dude, yeah, long story short, man, this thing is such a creative outlet to me. And for better or for worse, nobody has a guitar that looks like this. It looks ridiculous. Like, I know that looks messed up, right? I am not naive to that. But I just don't care. It's just a piece of wood, man. You know what I mean? Like, I love making these things unique for better or for worse. And you can say what you want about it, but I just love how nobody has this guitar and nobody has the aesthetic. I got the EMG X pickups in here, the HSS configuration. I also put in an afterburner from EMG, which is a huge game changer because this guitar, just no matter how many times I messed with it, does not have any sustain. It really shorts out. It's great for like rhythm stuff, but the sustain is so lacking for whatever reason. I'm not sure why with this guitar, but I throw on the afterburner and it just blows out the signal and the sound for better or for worse. You know, I don't necessarily like the tone of the afterburner, but the sustain and the firepower is there now. So, you know, anyway, just a cool little talking piece, man. Speaking of touring and all that, I would love to tour with this guitar maybe someday, but I am really scared to tour with a floating Floyd, and I don't want to block this guitar off because I love the whammy bar stuff. So this one will probably stay at home, or if ever I need a whammy bar at a live setting, either with Elijah or somebody else, or who knows, maybe one day I'll do a live show again as a solo artist. Who knows, man? Up next, we have a guitar that I need to play again. I have not played this guitar in all of 2024 to the best of my knowledge, which is crazy. How have I not done that, man? This is a 1978 Norland era Les Paul Custom. I've had this guitar for so long. This guitar is probably the second longest standing guitar in my collection since I started doing YouTube behind the white Jim Root Strat. But I always wanted a 70s Les Paul. I always loved the Norland era. That's like my favorite era with Gibson stuff. And this guitar I toured with FTFD, like I said in the beginning of this video. Drop A sharp is what I had it set in, but we only did 3 songs. It was Insincerity, Nightmares, and Vengeance. And I don't know how much longer I could have used this guitar in the set list without having to constantly tune it and stuff like that. Because drop A sharp with a Les Paul scale is just really problematic for my own experience, especially in a live setting with different climates and performing and moving and hitting hard with a ton of adrenaline, etc., etc. As you can see, there's no strings or tailpiece on it at the moment. But yeah, man, this guitar is so well known on my channel. It's one of the most known guitars and one of the better sounding ones too. It's really, really cool, man. Natural wood, maple, you know, just Nolan Airs, the shit. I love it, and I got to get this guitar back up and running very, very soon. But yeah, this one's very sentimental. Had it for such a long time, over half a decade now, and built a lot of my channel with this guitar. I actually forgot about a guitar. I'm going to put it as an honorable mention because I would be kicking myself if I didn't include this guitar. It's not here in my possession, but that is my Squier vintage modified baritone Jazzmaster. Yes, surprise, surprise, right? For those of you who've been following my channel, like, that is my guitar, man. Like, that is the sound. Anytime I've had the privilege of playing a baritone, or God, fortunate enough to get a signature guitar, it was all based around those Squier guitars that were only, what, $400, $500 when they hit the market in 2015, 2016, whenever that was. And I actually featured it on my rig rundown with Premier Guitar. And Chris from Premier Guitar, what a guy, man. What a great dude. What a legend in the YouTube game, right? He said something along the lines of, myself, the gentleman from Loathe, and the gentleman from iChem, Frank, are the three dudes that are like waving that Antigua Squier baritone Jazzmaster flag. And I said it in the rig rundown. I said, what an honor to be lumped in with those two other gentlemen. But I'm really proud of the fact that like I accomplished something with the instrument, in the sense that when people think of those guitars, they think of me. And for that, I'm so stoked, because I am truly obsessed with that sound. And it is still to this day kind of like a undiscovered gem, diamond in the rough. But people are really coming around to those guitars, and in fact, like Auto Audio even created a MIDI instrument to replicate that sound. So yeah, that guitar is down in Nashville. Elijah, please take care of it. Please don't lose it. I love that thing so much. That's my baby. But in all seriousness, man, yeah, that guitar, I'm assuming I'm taking it out on the road, because when I fly into Nashville, it'll be there. So yeah, absolutely love that guitar, man. And last but not least, let's end the video on a good note with the Solar A 2.6 Neon Orange guitar. This guitar will forever have sentimental value to me, because to this day, it is responsible for creating the most popular song I've ever created so far, and that is Subtle Comeback with Tom Barber. This guitar was in drop C sharp when I recorded it, and it has the Fishman Fluff pickup in it as well, and it's still had it for over 2 years now, which is kind of crazy how Fluff's not with Fishman anymore. You guys ever realize that? He's with Seymour Duncan now. I thought that was a huge news story when that broke. This guitar also recorded neck brace, I do believe, because I have Voice 3, which is a single coil, and that gives it that crazy sound. But yeah, dude, this guitar really inspired me to take on like the neon orange aesthetic and stuff like that. Really inspiring guitar to play. It plays great, and like I said, man, it created some of the best riffs that I've written to date, and people really dig those songs and those tracks and those tunes, and the streams on Spotify, for example, really reflect that. So yeah, everybody, let's end it on a good note. Solar A 2.6. And that, everybody, is my favorite guitars in my collection here in 2024. I think we talked about 8 guitars, 3 honorable mentions, and 5 for realsies. But anyway, you know, what's wrong with talking about a few extra guitars along the way? Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching. 2 questions. What's your favorite guitar that you own? And what's your favorite guitar of mine that I own that you guys really enjoy seeing on the channel? Whether it's the sound, whether it's the look, or whatever. I'd really be curious to hear what you guys have to say, for those of you who stick around to the end of the video. Thank you so much. Again, be sure to follow me on any sort of streaming service platform, any sort of social media platform. Like, comment, subscribe. Do all the things that really help out. It means the world to me, okay? With that being said, I am out of here. See you guys in a video again very, very soon. Later.